All right, Randy, please go ahead and start.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Buddhism Journey for Young Adults and College Students, Fall 2024. A reminder, please turn on your video so we can see you. Please mute your microphone, be respectful to the Dharma Master and everyone, and dress neatly and appropriately. Okay, our Dharma Master, Geshe Phende, born in Nepal at the age of 12, Geshe La became a monk at Druptub Rinpoche's monastery in Nepal for 2 years, where he received his initial monastic training. Geshe La joined Drepung Lasaling Monastery, South India, in 1982 at the age of 14, where he successfully completed his monastic education and passed Geshe Larampa examination in 2001. Geshe La then attended Gunme Monastery for further tantric studies and stayed there for a year. Geshe La was the resident teacher at the Lam Rim Tibetan Buddhist Center in Johannesburg, South Africa for almost 4 years. Twice, Geshe La has been on the Mystical Art of Tibet tour, and now currently is should now say some opening prayers. 3 refuges. I take refuge. Yeah, it just said my internet was unstable. So I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakening nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma in myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the way of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha in myself, I aspire to help all people build fourfold communities to embrace all beings and support the transformation. And a Dharma request. Our dear teacher, in accordance with the interests and the faculty of the sentient beings, please turn the wheel of Dharma, of the small, great, and common vehicles. And I think that's it. If Geshe Phende would like to start.
Okay. Today, the topic which I'm going to talk about is why should we have compassion for others? So that's the topic I'm going to discuss. So first, a compassion which specific Mahayana Buddhism, which one of the essence of the practice, the compassion. But in order to trust or believe to the compassion, first we need to know what's meant by compassion, right? What's the definition of compassion? And second, why should we have compassion for others, right? So without knowing this information, then practicing compassion might be difficult, because in order to practice on compassion, as a practitioner, you have to have strong desire to wish to practice on compassion. Without having desire to the compassion, then I think it is impossible to practice successful on the compassion. That is why we need to know what is the compassion, then why should we have compassion for others? So first, compassion, which we're talking about here, sometimes people may misunderstanding, because compassion means something you go to the society and you help the people, or here or there some kind of action, right? But these kind of things are, we call compassion, put it into the actions. Then whether to actions you can help to the others. But the compassion itself is the one type of mind, one type of mental factors. It's desire, it's a wish. So what is that? Means you wish others be free from suffering. That kind of wish, right? Wish others be free from suffering. That's called compassion. So wish others be free from suffering. It's not just only your families or your friends. Here, the compassion which we're talking about in Mahayana Buddhism is entire sentient beings, right? Including the people you don't like them, including the people you hate or the people you dislike. You have to cultivate that same compassion. So that type of the compassion, that kind of feeling, it's called compassion. As a human beings, we do have certain type of the compassion towards our friends and the families. You know, you wish them to be free from suffering. We always have. But this is not the pure compassion which we're talking about here. You know, that kind of compassion is mixed with the attachments. You know, attachment compassion. It's not the pure. So that type of compassion cannot, antidote or reduce your self-centered attitudes. This is mixed with attachment. So here, when we talk about the compassion, it's the pure compassion. We call the great compassion, which means that wish others be free from suffering, either your own family, either your enemies. Your feeling towards them is absolutely same, equal feeling. Or that's called the compassion. So then why should we cultivate compassion to others? Or why should we have compassion for others? A very simple reason is because the others do not want sufferings, right? So why I wish them to be free from suffering? Because they do not want sufferings. It's not about me. It's based on their interests. Based on their interests, I wish them to be free from suffering. I myself do not want suffering. Based on my own interests, I always wish myself free from sufferings. Similarly, others also say they do not want suffering. Based on that reason, wish them to be free from suffering. One of the reasons is that. Another reason is, according to the Buddhist philosophy, according to Buddhist philosophy, why you should, have compassion to others because you are dependent on others. So where you depend on others, your happiness is dependent on others. That is why you need to take care of others. Our health is dependent on our environments. Because of that reason, we need to take care of environments. So the many people who don't understand our health is dependent on environments. That is why we don't care about our environments. That's why we're destroying environment. And because of that reason, result, now today, we have a global warming. We have a natural disasters, constantly one after, right? It's like a getting worse and worse and worse. The reason, because of we destroying our environments. And the human beings who live in this planet still not really understanding, our health is how much. Maya, can you mute the other's mic? So to understanding how much our health is dependent on environment, lack of understanding that knowledge we're destroying. Because of that reason, now today, how much people suffer because of natural disasters, right? That's quite clear. So here, according to Buddhist philosophy, I mentioned earlier, very simple, right? Why should we, why should we have compassion for others? Because you are dependent on others. So everything's dependent on something else. There's nothing, anything who can exist independently, inherently. Everything exists relatively, dependently, right? So that is why in general, when we talk about the Buddhist view, what is the Buddhist view, the philosophical view? Buddhist view is everything's a dependent origination, right? That's called Buddhist view. So based on that view, which philosophy is the reality, that's how it is. Everything's interconnected. Everything's dependent on each other. So only the way to live happy means you need to take care of them. So take care comes with feel compassion, feel love. When you feel love and compassion to other, and that mind helps or what you call encourage you to take care of others, right? In order to take care of others, first you have to have desire, wish to take care, which is love and compassion. So if you have this kind of mind, then your decision, your action, everything's turn into better, taking care to others. If your mind it's only concern oneself, completely ignores others, then your decisions come from that intention. Your actions turn into that. That's why all the violence, all the negative actions, we acted. And because of that reason, result, we suffer, you suffer, right? Today, we can see majority today our problem in this, our in this planet. The most of the suffering we've been experienced, it's created by human beings. We are the one who created. This suffering is not created by aliens or somebody else. We self-creating this suffering. But as a human beings, we do not want suffering. Everybody, right? None of them wants to be suffer. None of us wants to be suffer. We do not want suffering, but we're creating our own problems. As a family members, as a member of the together family, Of course, each of those family members wants to live happy, harmony, joy. But within the family, there's so much drama. There's so much problems. In the society, so much problem. The nations, right? We have a war right now. So all of these family problems is not created by somebody else. Their family themselves. They do not want suffering. The family drama, created by their family themselves. So why are we doing these things, right? Why? Because we do not have sincerely love and compassion to others. Why not? Because we have very strong sense of selfish, self-centered attitude. So deep of our heart, the emotion, the mind called self-centered, selfish mind is the one of the fundamental causes of suffering. Yourself, society, everywhere. The self-centered attitude is the one who creating these sufferings. But the majority of human beings, we still do not know this. We're thinking our suffering is because of you guys, because of them, or because of somebody else, because of the countries, because we're always thinking something else. But the real causes of suffering, which is our own mind inside there, called self-centered attitude. As a Buddhist, the Buddha himself, right? The understanding on this knowledge, he himself put effort, practice to overcome these self-centered attitudes. Through that, he achieved Buddhahood, enlightenment, and which call ultimate happiness. So he guides us how to overcome this self-centered attitude. He is the one who, what you call, explain. He's the one first teacher who came to this planet and discover your self-centered attitude is the one of the fundamental causes of your suffering, right? Buddha taught that. That's why we call Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism, the essence of the Mahayana Buddhism is compassion to all beings. Why they're doing? Because one of the fundamental causes of your suffering is your self-centered attitude. So your self-centered attitude is the one who create all this emotion, destructive emotion, anger, attachment, jealousy, arrogance, all this destructive emotion. Not only that, this self-centered attitude is the one who create us fear, worry, stress, depressions, anxiety, all this mental pain. Why? Because this self-centered attitude is very narrow-minded, very small, narrow-minded. It's just concern only one beings. And that mind only care about one beings. So when that one beings encounter with any problem, it creates you so much fear, so much worries. So these human problems which we have, mental issues and these things, one of the causes is self-centered attitude. That's how Buddha taught us. So in order to overcome this self-centered attitude, Buddha teach, right, the Buddhism, what you call the doctrines that you call dharma, Mahayana dharma, right, great vehicle dharma. Mahayana dharma is the one who help us to antidote to this self-centered attitude. So applying Mahayana dharma means applying dharma, or I'm practicing Buddha dharma, Mahayana dharma, which means I'm practicing to reduce my self-centered attitude. My enemy is within me. It's in there. So in order to get rid of this self-centered attitude, I need to cultivate compassion to others, cultivate love to others, right? Cultivate bodhicitta, right? Awakening mind. So bodhitam, right? You call it in your Vietnamese language. Yesterday I learned it's called bodhitam, right?
Yes.
So that's the bodhicitta. You have to know what does that mean, right? What is that? Why this mind is important? Because this awakening mind, or the bodhicitta, is the one who helps you to antidote to your self-centered attitude, because this self-centered attitude is the one who creating all these problems, all these sufferings. That is why should have compassion to others. There's so many reasons because of those reasons, right? Now, how should we cultivate that kind of compassion? Is this the really beneficial? Is really helping us so many level, right? How should we cultivate compassion now? That's the what you call important cautions. But first, as a practitioner, do you 100% believed your compassion will release your suffering or not, right? If you're not, then it's impossible to practice compassion. It not become successful. We call the faith of convince. The faith of convince is not just blind belief. Sometimes people will use the word called believed. Majority of people think believed means without any reason you have to just believe. You have to just, that doesn't mean at all. Believing, which means through your investigate, contemplate, study, right? Meditate. Finally, you understand, you cognize this value of your compassion through the reason, through the logic, evidence. Then that certainty, what we call that kind of the conviction, through the understanding of value of compassion. So when you have that conviction, it's called faith of conviction. There are two different ways. Sometimes people may understanding intellectual level. Intellectual, yes, compassion is very good. This reason, but there's something there. It's not interest to oneself want to cultivate it. Some very scholar, Buddhist scholar, who are understanding these things, but who are not interested or not have what you call power to practice themselves. It's not interesting, or who would never practice themselves. That's called intellectual. The intellectual level, it's not that much benefit. So faith of convince, which means understanding all these three things through the reason, the logic, and you really trust this thing. And you yourself, the faith helps you to put it into practice, not remain as an intellectual level. Go experiential level. Yourself go into the practice. It's a very different. So kind of the not just blind faith without any reason, without any understanding, just belief. Not that. The faith which is through understanding everything, right? And you cultivating the conviction to this practice. That's called the faith of conviction through understanding. So if you have this kind of conviction, it helps to inspire oneself to practice the compassion. Not just, oh, it's nice, not just academic. Put yourself to practice. That's first very, very important. In order to have that kind of faith of conviction, so you need to understanding, right? I mentioned earlier, what is the benefit of cultivating compassion, right? So the topic today, which we're talking about, why should we have compassion for others? So understanding all these reasons, I just hear only few reasons I use it, because we don't have time to, to go all the detail, just few reasons, then you can look it. You can find there are more reason why should we have compassion to others, right? Very simple thing. Very, very simple thing is having love and compassion to others or having anger and hatred towards others. For the other side, it's not that much change. You feel love to them, you hate to them, right? For the other side, not that much affected. But for you, huge differences. Living with the anger and hatred towards other, result, you suffer. Because your anger is in here. Your hatred is in there, in your body. That emotion, what they're going to do, it hurts you. It harms you, right? Nobody's saying, when I feel anger and hatred, I'm very happy. Impossible, right? Even in your physical life, how comfortable you live it. As soon as this emotion called anger and hatred, when they arises, it's disturbed. It destroys your feeling of peace, calmness, feeling of joy. Absolutely destroy you. So even just that simple reason, living with love and compassion to entire sentient beings, you feel like entire being is like same like your family. This world has become like your family. So much joy you can live with. It's all about your mind, right? Even simple this reason, living with compassion is so much benefit. That is why Buddha taught about this teaching, right? That's why we call the Mahayana Buddhism. It's so much emphasis on the practice of compassion and love to entire sentient beings, right? So now, when you feel that, when you have really 100%, of belief on this value, and when you have that faith of convince to the love and compassion to all sentient beings, then next, what is the compassion? What is the love? And how can we cultivate love and compassion, right? So the compassion, love is very simple. I mentioned earlier. Compassion means you wish others be free from suffering. Love, great love, which means you wish others to have happiness, wish them to have happiness, wish them to have, what you call peace, healthy life. That's called love, right? Wish them to be free from suffering. That kind of wish is called compassion. So these two wish, love and compassion, are very frankly mind each other. When you cultivate compassion, it helps to cultivate love. When you cultivate love, it helps to cultivate compassion. But compassion is not the love. Love is not the compassion. They look in different way, right? Compassion concerns other sufferings. Love wants them to have happiness, right? Two different way. But now, when you know these things, how should we cultivate compassion now, right? So huge benefit if I able to cultivate compassion, huge benefit as a Mahayana Buddhist, the bodhicitta, which we're talking about, right? Bodhitam. It's called the awakening mind or mind of enlightenment. The essence, like a main seed or the causes of bodhicitta is compassion to others. If you have very strong compassion to others, your bodhicitta becomes very strong. If a compassion is very light, your bodhicitta becomes light. So as bodhicitta practitioners, compassion is the main practice. If you feel very weak on compassion, then your bodhicitta will turn into weak. So that's why, as a Mahayana practitioner, compassion is also very important. So how should we cultivate this compassion? Which means what that really means. Even some people, even that don't understand how should cultivate compassion, which means how should I feel, right? How should I feel entire beings free from suffering? Right now, we don't feel this. We only feel to ourselves. Who wants to free from suffering? We feel that same wish to your friends, your families, right? You wish them to be free from suffering. But what you call unknowing people or your enemies, strangers, and majority people, which you don't need to deal with them. For them, we don't feel these things. It's very hard to feel. And specific for the enemy, instead of feeling compassion, we go opposite way. We wish them to have suffering. We wish them to suffer, right? We wish them to, becoming what you call failure or something, right? That's how we go. So the opposite way. So is it possible to feel compassion to them, or this is impossible, right? You need to investigate yourself. If you feel, oh, Buddhism, the Buddha Dharma is just simple prayer, just you follow, it's kind of the miracle. Buddha bless you, then everything will be okay. No, that's not going to work. Buddhism is go with the reality. That's why Buddha says, Tumnam Depa Chui Mitushins, Dre Done Chake Misayang, Miki Topa Shela Pominte, Chini Temper Tempe Drawings, saying what he says, enlightened beings cannot wash your negative karmas, your karmas. And they cannot take your suffering by their hand. They cannot transform their realization to us. What they can do is this, they will teach you the Dharma, the truth. And as a student, we study, understand the Dharma, we put practice, and through your Dharma can liberate you, not somebody else, right? Finally, who will save you from your suffering? Your Dharma, right? Your practice. Dharma means your practice, your bodhicitta, your wisdom of emptiness, your compassion. These practice will liberate you from your self-centered attitude, from your sufferings, right? So that is why we need to cultivate that compassion. So how should oneself feel that compassion to entire beings? Is it possible or it is impossible? As a Buddhist, Buddha says entire sentient beings means believer, even non-believer, right? Entire beings as Buddha nature means possible. You can cultivate compassion, bodhicitta. You can generate all this realization. You can, possible to achieve Buddhahood, means you can possible to achieve enlightenment. As beings, everybody has this nature, which means, what does that really mean? Means the suffering we've been experiencing, right? We right now circling in samsara. By whom? By your self-centered, your anger, attachment, jealousy, destructive emotions, right? Called mental afflictions. Your mental affliction tie you, bind you in samsara. It's nobody outside there. So when you overcome this, your mental affliction, then you liberate from samsara. So all your destructive emotions you have, mental afflictions you have, all of them are, we call temporary. Temporary, which means it is separable. Your destructive emotions are not engaged to the nature of your mind. That's Buddhist belief, right? Nature of our mind is very pure. Destructive emotions are the temporary, polluted. So these are separable. So to separate them, to eliminate them, what do you need? We need a dharma practice. We need to dharma, which what that means? That means the practice of compassion, practice of bodhicitta, all this teaching we have, we need to generate, right? We need to cultivate, generate. And that your compassion, your bodhicitta, your wisdom will eliminate your self-centered, your destructive emotions, right? That is why, as a practitioner, in order to overcome this self-centered attitude, we need to cultivate compassion to others. So how should we do this? Now, it is possible, huge benefit. Now, next is, how should I do this? It's very hard to feel compassion to others, but how should I cultivate compassion? Then you say very simple reason. For your friends, you can feel compassion quite easy, right? When your friends suffer, you feel, oh, I wish he or she be free from suffering. When your child, when your family members, when they suffer, right? When you know that, you feel compassion. I really wish my friends, the families, be free from suffering. You don't need to meditate that much. But for your enemy, for the stranger, we don't feel these things. Why? Why we not feeling this? So look from the psychological point of view, right? Buddhist psychology point of view. Why we don't feel these things to our enemies or strangers? Simple reason is because mentally, we do not feel close to them. That's the problems. So if I'm not talking about physical, mental, we're not close. So our heart is not touched with them. That's why we don't feel it. My friends and the family, very close mentally. I touch my heart to them. I feel dear to them. That's why when I saw this suffer, I really feel I want to free from suffering. I wish them to be free from suffering. I feel very easily compassion, right? That's showing the causes, means the substantial causes of compassion is mind of endearment, right? It's called affection, love. Feel dear to others, right? So how should I feel sense of closeness to strangers, to my enemies, to entire other sentient beings, which I already have that to my friends, the family. But how should I use that same mind of endearment towards others? How should we do that, right? So Buddha teach us, sense of closeness, feel dear, when you understand others' good qualities, when you see the others' kindness, and that helps you to feel connected to others. That's why meditate on others' kindness, meditate on others' good qualities, right? That's why. Therefore, some sutras, the Buddha's teaching, he talk about all sentient beings, being your mother, being your father, right? Being your family in the past, countless time, right? Because your life and their lives are beginningless. Where I'm talking here specific from the Buddhist belief, right? We're talking about past life, past life. There's no beginning, right? There's no first started. It's beginningless story. So through that story, every beings, being your parents, your grandparents, countless time, not just one time, to the countless time. This kind of one meditation, it's mainly why we're doing this. It's something make connection. Even this life, we do not know each other, or maybe in this life, he or she become your enemy. But that person in the past, many times, countless times, they've been my friends, the families. That's the one way of thinking. In the sutra, they say. Otherwise, either they become my parents or not. What big deal, right? But this talk is because of one of the purpose is this philosophy helps to feel connected to other sentient beings. But for some sutras, some kind of teaching, they use just in this life. Imagine yourself since you're born, right? Since you're born, the educations you have, the food you eat, the shelter where you live, right? The road where you're driving, the electricity you're using, the water you're drinking, everything that you have is come from where? It's not only your family, it's not only your friends, right? It's from entire beings. Like, for instance, the one pieces of bread or the one bottle of the milk you drink, where they come from? Who create this bottle? This milk come from where? When you look at this, hundreds of people, right, with their efforts. So one piece of bread, when you eat it, just that piece of bread, if you really look at the background, there are hundreds of people. The family who plant that seed on the ground as a farmer, right, who take care of these seeds for weeks and weeks, a month. They put effort to take care of that seeds. Eventually, the fruits comes out. Then the people that delivers, the factories, grind that, cook it. Eventually, it's become a bread now. Right? Just become a bread. There are hundreds of people, they put effort. You enjoying, you eating, you surviving. So that pieces of bread, if you really look at this, the kindness of those hundreds of people, that's how we should look. And that's the truth, right? So imagine how many pieces of bread you eat it in your life, how many cups of coffee and tea you drink in your life. Each of these coffee, each of these teas you drink, there are hundreds of people. Just for coffee and tea, you can see there are millions of people and are added up. That's how you receive benefit from them. Doesn't matter the other side have intention to help you or not. Doesn't matter. Reality is it's benefiting you. That's the goal, right? It's benefiting you. That's what you cherish. So there are many things which you so much cherish, but these things, they do not have intention to help to you, but you cherish them because it's benefit to you. For instance, your iPhone, you so much cherish. Try to make a cover, try to do so much. If they fall down, you feel very sad, so much cherish. This iPhone don't have wish to help you, right? It don't have any wish to help you. But its benefit to you makes your life very easier, blah, 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 connecting to the people. So you're so much benefiting. If that phone do not have any intention to help you, because of the benefit to you, you cherish them, right? You always take care of them. Exactly the same, use that same logic. Even other beings, either they have intention to help you or not, reality is benefit to you, right? The road you drive every day, this come from where, these roads? Government make a road, but government get the money from whom? From where, right? Each individual's hard worker, and they give some portions of their money as the name of tax. And that money benefit to you to get the electricity, water, or the roads, everything makes very easy life. So this comfortable, easy life you have is because of all those peoples. Otherwise, you live in the rural area in jungle, there's nothing, anything, can you survive? Right? It's impossible now. Can you able to sleep comfortable? Can you able to eat, drink coffee or tea, what you wanted, living in jungle? Of course not. Can you study? Can you become an educated person? Can you become talent, what you have today? Impossible. That's showing. It's because when you become a little bit grow up, when you own something, you think, I did. You never think this has come from other. We think always I, because of that self-centered attitude. It's the one blind you. And that's how you don't see. I did. And the result of that, you ended up with too much arrogance, too much ego. When you're becoming more and more success, your business or anything, you're becoming more and more arrogance. Because of this self-centered attitude, it's completely blind you don't see. Because of living with too much arrogance, ego, result, you suffer. But many people don't think, oh, I'm not suffering. Of course, the deep of their heart, always, every time, concern, fear, worry, stress, depression. Someone cannot able to sleep well. Even you have a very fancy bed, very beautiful bedrooms, very expensive blanket you're using, very expensive cushions or whatever you're using, but the person who's sleeping there cannot sleep well. They have to take pill now, right? So that's how it is. The pain, the insight, sometimes deep there, you didn't recognize these things. You think I'm everything okay because I have business, I have money, I have a power. We think that, but the reality is full of pain and suffering. We do not understand all of this because of that ignorance, destructive emotion, self-centered, too much ego. So all those suffering coming from those self-centered. So when you really want to change that from the bottom level, not the surface level, from the bottom level, right? That's what Buddha teach, the Mahayana Buddhism teach on that. How to cut from the bottom level, the problem, cultivate compassion, respect to the others, right? So in order to do that, so that's why when you look different way, without others, I cannot survive myself. So that's why you understanding others' kindness, how much is benefit to you. You understanding others' qualities. Sometimes when we become too much ego, we don't see the quality. I always telling you, even simple example, for instance, the little bee, right? The bee, very little is the animal, right? It's not smart like human beings, but that little bee was a human bee, we think I'm the special compared with these bees. But if you look at, they have a talents. They go to the flower, they take the nectars without destroying the flower. They take care of their eggs. They're transforming those, whatever transportation, all the pollens. They help to grow the fruits, environments, right? So much helping without destroying natural, environment. They're helping the environment. But same time, they take the essence of the nectar, what they needed, without destroyer. And they're helping them. As a human being, can you do this? What we do? We go there, chop this flower now. Then take it what you need. Next time, there's nothing. We damage the environment, right? Everything. We don't have that skill compared with even little, fly like a bees. If you look from that perspective, these little fly, so much talent than you. So seeing the others' good quality, it's helping us, right? The fruit we eat it. It's not only tree and seed, the people who take care of the trees. It's not only that. There are many other things, right? The bees and also working so hard. So much benefit to us and helping for the environments. And they're surviving themselves, taking care of this, their babies or their eggs or whatever they need to do. So much talent and brings so much benefit. Now compare with human being, we're destroying them, right? We're destroying them. See, from that perspective, you appreciate these little flies, how much benefiting. So that's how we should look. We need to learn how to look these things. As a Buddhist, Buddha teach us how should you look other things. If you look in the right way, you can see the right things. When you see the right things, you feel the right. If you look in the wrong perspective, you see the wrong thing. You feel the wrong. Then you ended up with the suffering. It's everything's in your hand, right? That is why when you look at on all this benefit you receive from entire sentient beings, and upon their look about entire beings, all of them, their fundamental desires, very innocent. They just want to live happy in peace. Nobody wants suffering. That's the intention. Every being's right fundamental desire. So very pure nature, innocent intention they have. Upon there, so much benefit to me. When you look from these things again and again, it's called analytical meditation, analyzing. These things you need to study. You need to learn these things, not just simple mantra prayer, and not count these things. So that is why Buddha teach all these doctrines, texts which we have, sutras, right? It's the textbook. We study these things. That's why we go to the temple to learn this, to explain this sutra, and we learn. And that's why we change our mind to try to look for the different way. And that's how we're changing our mind day to day, getting better, better, better. But that's how we become Buddhahood, Buddha enlightenments. That's how. So from this perspective, when you see that, then you feel sense of, what you call appreciation to others, gratitude to others. That helps to cultivate the mind of endearment. Feel close to them. So when you feel close, when you feel dear to all beings, then compassion is easy. So all of those beings wants to live happy in peace. Nobody wants suffering. Whatever their lifestyle they choose is for happiness. But unfortunately, because of living under the influence of ignorance, self-centered attitude, these destructive emotions, they make wrong decision. That's why they act always wrong. That's why they ended up the wrong place. They want to go to the right place, but they ended up the wrong place. Why? Their action is wrong. Why they act wrong? Because actions come from our decision. Decision come from our mind. Our mind is polluted, right? Contaminated by destructive emotion, mental affliction. That's how everybody suffer now. They're doing for happiness, they ended up everybody suffering. So you're seeing these suffering, then you generate, I wish each and all of them be free from suffering and the causes of sufferings. They want to free from suffering. Based on that, their interest, I wish them to be free from suffering. That kind of wish, you think, analyze, is called contemplate, right? Meditation. Through that, when you sincerely feel it, feeling of compassion, then you rest on that feeling. Hold it, remain with this feeling for a few seconds, few minutes, as much as you can. Then when the feeling slowly disappearing, declining, you have to think again. Analytical meditation. Analytical meditation helps you to feel. When your feeling arises, you don't need to analyze. You just stay, absorb that. Stabilization meditation. remain on that feeling, right? We call the a single point of meditation. Just hold that feeling of compassion. Then when you do this again, more, eventually, less analyze. Feeling comes easier, remain longer, eventually without effort. Effortlessly, you feel compassion day or night, right? Constantly feeling. That time, you say you're expert on compassion. Then you can say, oh, I have a compassion to all beings, right? Called spontaneously compassion, effortlessly compassion, feeling without effort. When you got this kind of meditation, then bodhidharma, right? Bodhicitta, easy. You have possible. Then it's possible to become a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, which means the being who has bodhicitta, right? The being who has a bodhicitta called bodhisattvas. When you reach the bodhisattva, then you're on the track now, on the path to become a Buddha, right? Bodhisattva means a child of the Buddha, right? Geshe, child of the Buddha. It's like a prince. Prince, future, soon he will become a king, right? Similarly, Bodhisattva in the future, you will become a Buddha, enlightened beings. So all of these process, that what you call graduate paths, the seed started from compassion first, and that will take you these paths. So therefore, today just wants to share a little bit on this compassion teaching. And as a practitioner, it is really important, to understanding these things. Our problem is when we say practicing dharma, we go very surface level, right? If you cannot think, if you cannot meditate, then very simple prayer, recite mantra, at least is better than nothing, right? But if you have more things capable to do, then you have to do it. Our goal is, as a Buddhist, believing, when Buddha introduced the Buddha Dharma, Buddha teaching, Four Noble Truth, right? He introduced that. The suffering which you do not want it, all of them causes by the origin of suffering, the truth of origin of suffering, which is your bad karmas, contaminated karmas, and your negative emotions, mental affliction. These are the one creating, right? He says that. So happiness, the really ultimate happiness is freedom of your destructive emotion, cessation of suffering, the third noble truth, which is freedom of your destructive emotion, your mental affliction freedom. That's liberation. That's the ultimate happiness. That happiness is not just come only simple prayer or offering or something. These are very good, but that's not enough. Mainly truth path, practice of compassion, bodhicitta, right? Renunciation, which we're talking about. So they are pretty realization. This realization, first you need to understand each of them. If you're not understanding them, it's impossible to achieve, right? How? It's impossible. That's why we study the Dharma. So how should we study the Dharma? Today in this environment, all the schools, all the institutes, they talk about all this modern education. They're not going to talk about these things. That's why we go to the temple to learn these things, right? We go to the temple to learn the Buddha Dharma from those great masters in the temples who have experience, who've been studying. So we rely on them to learn this. Then what you understanding, then yourself investigate, research, right? Experiment, meditate. Finally, realization, experience, generate these dharma to path. Compassion, renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness. There are many things. You're generating this. And this inner, your knowledge, your experiencing, your realization, this your realization, the truth path leads you to the cessation of all the suffering, right? Called happiness, ultimate happiness, which we never ever experienced in the past. You know, we've been, from the Buddhist perspective, we've been in samsara countless time. Since beginning, let's till today, we're still circling there, right? Sometimes a little bit better, sometimes we fall down, sometimes you become a human being. That's just circling there, right? When we really cut all this destructive emotion, when we liberation, then we are really free from all the sufferings. So that's the Buddhist way to how should oneself achieve long-lasting happiness, right? So today, I want to share this, and I hope that will help you. Then we're going to leave the question answer sections. Do I need to guide the compassion meditation?
Yes, Geshe, please do a little bit, then a short one. Thank you.
So first you want to do question answer, or first you want to do meditation?
I think maybe the meditation first, Geshe. And I think, because I think
Okay.
one of the things is I feel like a lot of us here, I think, not get used to with the meditation on analytic meditation. So I think that's is really helpful for us. Yeah. Thank you.
So of course, the detailed meditation, it's impossible. You know, we do not have time to do all this, but just give you small, kind of instruction. General in the Buddhist, as a bodhicitta, to cultivate the bodhicitta, there are two different lineages. Traditionally, the meditation is called sevenfold point essential cause and effect, or then another side is called the equalizing and exchanging self and others, cherishing through that bodhicitta. So two different lineage, the lineage of extensive deeds, or lineage of profound view, or then this kind of lineage. But we don't have time to go these things. But just tell you, in the future, if somebody you who really wants to, what you call research on this bodhicitta, then might be helps you, to have these different lineages practice, as all of them are available in the text or the meditations, everything. But today we go very, very simple, right? The simple meditation. So it's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, we'll start the meditation. So first, all of you, make sure that, meditation posture, there are actually, it's called 7 or 8 meditation posture. Among those posture, one of the most important meditation posture is keep your spine very straight and the rest of the body remain relaxed, comfortable. So then after, when you hear the sound of the singing bowl, then first you should just focus on that sound. When the sound completely disappears, and just few seconds, you don't think about anything, not engage to any objects. Your mind just remain like a space for a few seconds. Then come back on your breath, breathing meditation. Then just very small instruction, I will guide the meditation on compassion. Okay, we'll start now. When the sound completely disappeared, just few seconds, your mind remain like a space. Don't engage to any object. Now slowly you should focus on your breath. When you inhale, you should be aware or mindful you are inhaling. Same when you exhale. So keep your mind on present moment of your breath. Inhaling with a mindful and exhaling with a mindful. Slowly, when your mind is calmed down, sit visualize the people you feel very close, like your parents or your families or friends. Visualize them at front of you. On the left side of you, visualize the people you know them, your neighbors, co-workers, but you do not have either close or distant relationship, called neutral beings, maybe around 5 to 10 people at your left. And your right side, visualize the people you feel hatred, angry, or you feel distant. You don't like those people. So those people you should visualize at your right. And rest of entire sentient beings, visualize at your back or they surrounded you. First, you should look all of them. Either your friends front of you, either your enemies left at your right. But their fundamental desire, all of them wants to live happy, peace. They do not want sufferings. Absolutely same as yours. And all of them have equal right to live happy in peace. And their final goals are also same, which is long-lasting happiness. There's no any differences at all. So that you should just feel equal towards them. And now, usually you have minds in front of the people you feel very close. At the right, your enemy, you feel very distant. Rather biased mind you have that created by your attachment and anger. Now through understanding the reality, all of them have same desire, same right, same goal, like you. There's no any differences. Through that, you should generate mind of equanimity. No feeling close to anybody, no feeling distant to anybody. Just remain equal, each and all of them. Now you should remember others' kindness, which I mentioned earlier. The food you eat, the shelter where you live, your education, your talents, the road where you use, the water you drink, the electricity you're using. Look, all of those facilities you have, you survive, you enjoy it because of each and all of those people. Not only your family, not only certain people, every beings. And from the Buddhists who already believe in rebirth, and you can also add it to all of those beings, including your enemies in the past. There's also been your families, your friends. Future they will become friends, the families. So remember all this kindness you receive from others, even in this life, how much you receive benefit from others, directly, indirectly. I mentioned earlier, through that you should feel appreciate to all of them, feel gratitude to all beings, specifically for the enemies. Because of them, it gives you special opportunity to cultivate your patience, tolerance, forgiveness, forbearance, all of these important quality because of them. They are like your teacher of patience, tolerance. So you should feel appreciated to them. Through that, you should feel appreciated to entire beings. And you should generate the mind of endearment and feel sense of closeness. Feel dear to all of them. How much you feel close to your friends, the family, exactly the same sense of closeness, feel dear to all beings. So meditate on mind of endearments. It's not just visualize, not just think. Make sure your heart feel it and touch to all beings. Those clear sentient beings who wants to live happy, peace, and nobody wants sufferings like you. But unfortunately, because of living under the influence of self-centered attitude, anger, attachment, jealousy, arrogance, and so forth, called mental afflictions, they make wrong decision. That's why they act wrong, mistake. Result, every beings, all of them, portrait, experience physical sufferings, suffering of aging, suffering of sickness, suffering of death in time, either they experience right now, either they will experience in the future. Suffering of stress, even young, healthy, very rich, but stress, depressions, anxiety, fear, constantly worries, so forth, mental sufferings, suffering of changing, which is all this pleasure, mundane pleasure. They put so much effort to have them. Eventually, all of these pleasure turn into the sufferings. And suffering of conditioning, which means the basic, their body, their feeling, their mental factors, their minds, everything's are contaminated, samsara. So they've been circling samsara with all these things for whole life. Just look from that perspective. Through that you cultivate compassion. Wish each and all of them be free from sufferings and the causes of sufferings, which are the mental affliction, destructive emotion, the negative karmas. It's called compassion. So meditate on great compassion to entire beings, including your enemies. Make sure you feel it, not just think, not just visualize. Your heart should feel all beings. So meditate on great compassion for all beings. Wish all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And that compassion you have right now, through the meditation, whatever virtues merit you accumulated, all of this inner good quality you have right now, visualize them as a form of smoke in your heart. And when you exhale, you release those smokes with your breath. When the breath comes out from your nose, it goes to 10 directions and is spread to all over the universe. The beings, when they inhale, they take those smokes with their breath, and through that they purify all their sufferings, the causes of sufferings they have. Draw compassion to all beings. Take a deep breath and release them. Once again, take a deep breath with out of compassion to all and release them. Make sure out of compassion to all beings, take a deep breath and release them. And other sentient beings, they take those smokes and through that purify all the sufferings and causes of sufferings. Visualize them to remain very peace, very happy. You should rejoice. Okay. So now, finish the teaching, finish the meditation. Now only we left is we have 10 minutes for question answer.
Thank you, Geshe. Anyone has any question for Geshe?
Yeah, I could ask something. I could ask, if you see somebody that is being negative or hateful, causing other people's problems for other people, sometimes compassion maybe is being angry at them or showing them anger or criticism. I guess a common example would be giving money to an alcoholic or a drug addict. Like, compassion to them could be destructive in a way, and like perhaps the most compassionate thing would be to criticize them or to even show anger, perhaps sometimes. I guess I could ask about that.
Yeah, I think the first important part is sometimes people may misunderstanding. You maybe sometimes people think, oh, the compassion is not going to work in the reality world. It is work in the spiritual world, but the reality, there are so much problems. There are so many bad people or something like that. So we think it's not going to use, it's not going to work. But compassion definitely work to all different fields. Compassion is the mind. You sincerely care to these beings. It's a very simple mind. You wish these beings be free from suffering. That's all. The people, when they make mistake, when they're doing so much, kind of creating so much problems, out of compassion, you can stop them. Stopping, if having compassion to those people doesn't mean I accept, those violent, accept those misbehave. Of course, absolutely not. Compassion means mainly because of those behave, I shouldn't be hate to this person. I shouldn't feel angry because that anger will not going to fix the problem. It will hurt you upon there. It will destroy your virtues. So the compassion is you still feel care. Now, in order to stop, when you put your compassion in action, depend on situation, depend on your wisdom, your experience, your knowledge. Very important. So when you use your compassion to the action, you have to have good experience, good wisdom. So certain situation, you have to stop. In order to stop them, just peaceful way, it's not going to work. Some situation you have to use wrathful behave. So out of compassion, you can show very wrathful action, you can show very peaceful action. Which one is most suitable to fix the problem? You apply it, fix it, stop it, punishment, whatever. As a Buddhist monk, according to our Vinaya text, when the monks break the vow or something, they have a punishment. Even the sutras, Buddha, his own words, they are talking about these punishments. The punishment doesn't mean angry, hatred, or something. Out of sincere love and compassion, you really want to fix the problems. So sometimes peaceful, sometimes wrathful way. So you can use to any fields, business field, political fields, everywhere. But when you use your compassion, it is very, very important to make sure you're understanding the problem. How can I fix it? You have to have full knowledge, experience. So the wisdom, the experience are very, very important in when you use your compassion in the actions. So that is why sometimes people may misunderstand compassion is you just accept whatever they do. Absolutely not. That's called the blind compassion. And now that's not going to work. Its compassion is simple to protect you, to don't feel anger and hatred towards them. Simple. But to fix the problem, you can use any actions out of compassion. You can show any actions in a specific in the Vajrayana Buddhism. When you look, we have a wrathful deities, we have a peaceful deities, right? Very wrathful, very scary deities appearance is showing compassion can show variety form in order to help to the other people.
Thank you, Geshe. Anyone else any question? Okay. So I think it's good. So if no one else had any question, I think we can go ahead and do the dedication of merit. Thank you so much, Geshe, for the teaching today. And Randy, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, dedication of merits. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace, with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Randy, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Geshe-la.
See you all next time. Thank you.